Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today I'm going to be reviewing Troyes Dice. Oh, the comments just came in. I mispronounced the name of the game. So, come on down, I'll show you the table view of how Troyes Dice plays, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Here's the setup of Troyes Dice. Each player has a sheet with columns numbered 1 through 6, which correspond to the faces of the die. On the first turn, players will roll the dice and place them out in ascending numerical order, starting on the first available action space here. So 1, 4, 5, and then 6. If players want to take one of these actions, they'll have to pay the associated resources here shown. But first, the black die, which is considered the raid die, will make a space unavailable. It is pulled to the side, and now players can take one of these actions. If they choose to take action number 4, they'll have to take it in the red column. If they take this one, in action level 5, it'll be for white, or this action level 6 will be for yellow. On a turn, you can either use a die to cross off one of the buildings and get the associated bonus, or you can gather that many of that resource. The cost down here is shown, so if I wanted to pay 2 of the coins, I could then take this yellow 6 action to get 6 coins or to cross off the yellow building here in the 6th column. Once I do that, I get the associated bonus. So these little meeples show that I would gain citizens of that type. At the end of a round, once everyone has taken their actions, or at the end of the first half of a round, this tile flips over, the one that was rated by the black die. You'll see that most of these are different colors, but some of them are going to be the same on both sides, like this one here. So, the second half of the round, we're still in round 1, players will roll the dice again and set out the dice, but this time in ascending order, starting on the evening side of the track. 1, 4, 5, 5, so players will continue and do the same thing. In this case, sure, you can spend one of any of the resources in order to take this action. So as players do so, they'll continue getting whatever bonuses and rewards that they'll take, and then this is the end of the round, and so the round marker will advance forward. Flip over and return. Now starting the third round, what will happen is that the black die will actually raid and destroy the ability to take an action in a space. So not only in this case will this black 3 eliminate this here, players will go to the third column of their white row, and they will have to destroy the opportunity to take that action in the future, crossing off all of those spaces. How do you protect against that? Well, in the red rows, if you are to take a red action, let's say a red 1, and you build a keep, you protect the entirety of your red column from being raided. It is kept and it is safe. But in this case, didn't do anything to protect the 3. You also will score points at the end of the game based on how many resources you have. Every 2 unspent resources will earn you 1 point each. All of your citizens that you have circled by taking these different actions will give you 1 point each. And then this row here of the white action will give you an increasing reward based on different matching rows, earning increasing multipliers the more that you use these. Now there's also a few bonuses here, like if I had built the red 1 in this column and then I build the red 2 in this column, you'll see an adjoining bonus here in between the 2 of them, in which case I will earn not just 1 citizen of red for that, and not just the 1 for here, but also the 1 in between, giving me this. There's also a few bonuses here on the citizen track. If you're to get all 3 filled in, then you'll earn 1 of each resource. If you get all the way to 6 and to the 9th space, then you also get a free build. And if you get to any of these individual citizens here, you get free builds or extra citizens. You tally up your points and then get the total at the end of the game. Now, one of the other things is that this is the basic recommended first setup of the game. The other thing you can do is you can roll the die, and whatever number you roll is what you'll start numbering your sheet with. So this is an instance where I played, and the first column is numbered with a 5, and then it increases 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. These resources, by the way, can be spent to, the red ones can be spent to increase or decrease the number of a die. The yellow is paid primarily to get further, use further dice out. And the white ones, you spend 2 to virtually change the color of a die. So if I wanted to take this 5-level action, I could spend $2 to change it to yellow or to red if I don't like that. There are also a few extra modules you can play with. In the box come these banquet and raid tokens. At the start of the game, any of those spaces that are the same on both sides will get a banquet token put on it, which will give you some special ability. If you use this space to build, for example, one of these keeps or strongholds, you will get extra citizens as a reward for it. This space will be unaffected by the black die the first time that it happens. This one, it costs 0 to use this action space. Where's the last matching one? Right here. So you put these out. However, the next time that a black die is rolled and placed onto this space, it will cause the feast side to flip over to a raided side. Now, instead of this space costing 0 permanently for the whole game, this space will always cost 1 extra coin. This will prevent players from being able to use some good effects in the future. The other thing I should mention is that on the back of the manual, there is a list of achievements that players can focus on if they want to play the game a number of times. Target goals for victory points, achieving all of these different buildings being built, or obtaining all of these resources or citizens, giving you something else to kind of play for. And lastly, on the Pearl Games website, there are also PDFs of additional scenarios that you can play with, sometimes drawing extra things in to your board or creating different ways that the dice are going to be controlled each round. And it just adds for some more variability. There's 10 of these scenarios as of the recording of this. So that's Trois Dice. So as you can see, a pretty simple roll and write game. It has that little board, which is a fun central little component, a central mechanism, and it does make tracking it easy as it turns around and spins, and it shows you the 8 rounds of the game so that you know exactly how much is left. I like that component quite a bit. The randomized setup of the tiles is good, and the fact that they're double-sided plays into both the setup of the game, but also the gameplay. Now, is this game anything at all like the original Trois? Absolutely not. I've played the original a few times, and I can say that I don't see the connections really, which might be an instant turnoff for you based on what your thoughts are on that game. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the original, but I've heard that this was not very much like it, so I wanted to give it a shot. It ends up being, in many ways by the numbers, so to speak, right? Roll the dice, put them out. It does a fun, unique thing with that black die, which shuts off a space. But starting in the 3rd round through the 8th, it does an even more unique thing, where it will actively fight against your player sheet. And that's what kind of hooked me with this one. I really liked that things are starting to disappear on your sheet unless you preemptively take the actions to build as many strongholds as possible. But of course, that's random. Are you going to be able to do that or not? But the fact that it is randomly going to destroy parts of your board is okay because it's such a quick game. It is interesting. This is the first roll and write style game I've played where the game kind of fights against you, not just, did I get the dice that I wanted, but I might have even rolled some of the things that I needed, that particular same roll, that the raid die destroyed something that I was working towards. Now, that means that you can't put all of your eggs in one basket and hope for everything, but that's good. It's going to force you to play this game differently each time, because sometimes these games can play out too similarly. So the randomization of the setup and everything, yeah, it's not a big deal, whatever. But the way that raid die affects things, it's good, I think. This game wouldn't be as good either, though. I don't think it'd have the longevity if it, for one, didn't come with those little banquet tokens in there, which add some decent variability to the game, and I like some of those abilities. However, those banquet sides, the benefit sides, flip over once for the whole game, and they go to that raid side and make the game harder. I don't love the feel of that. It's a good little included mini expansion, but I wish there were a way that they could flip back to the first side. Maybe that's not thematic enough. This is not a terribly thematic game, but I get it. You had a banquet set up, and if it gets raided, party's over. But I do wish that it could maybe flip-flop or at least last longer, because instantly those tiles start flipping over even before you get to use them. So I'm of two minds. I like the fact that it adds a little bit of variability to it, but also the setup of it is strange because you might get a benefit that doesn't behoove the color of the tile that it's on, so it's odd. But I do like the fact that there are those 10 scenarios on the website. Should you factor something that was kind of a post-thought into the review of a game? I think so. It shows the company is supporting such an even small little title like this. So it's small, it's fast, and it's enjoyable. And it feels the exact same if you're playing it solo or playing it with other players. This is probably the biggest shortcoming of it, is that there is zero, and I mean zero, difference playing this solitaire versus playing it with other people. By the way, it plays solo really well because of that. But you're not interacting, there's nothing. It's not even like majorities on different colored citizen tracks at the end of the game or anything like that. It's just, you just count up your score, right? And so for that reason, I think that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially because the original Trois is pretty interactive. You could buy each other's dice, and that whole thing is just gone. There's no looking at the other player's sheets and saying, hey, I'm going to give you some money if I can, get some benefit that you have that I don't have. That's all gone. It's just a roll and write, but I think it's a good one. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing how it plays out, trying to get as much done as you possibly can, trying to work towards not just fun little combos, of which there are, but also those end game scoring things. The more that you use that one white row, you want to use it on a column on a row that you're filling in a lot of buildings on, but not at first because you only get a one-time multiplier. You want a 2 or a 3 if you're going heavy into it, so it plays out more differently than I thought it was going to from one game to the next. So I like this one a lot. Originally I was going to give it a 7, but I think with the little mini expansion and the extra scenarios online, I'm going to bump this up to a 7.5 genuinely. I'm going to keep playing this one, and I enjoy it. It's not great, but it's a lot better than a lot of other games of this size and weight that I've played. So I enjoy it. I approve of it. My name is Chris Yee, and thank you for watching The Dice Tower.